quite a number of African countries are steadily transforming from low to middle-income economies over the past decade. Tanzania has also had a dramatic shift in leadership and foreign relationships and policy outlook, placing it in a competitive position with other thriving economies like Kenya and Ethiopia. Sectors that have seen a boom in this country include the agricultural sector, which forms the core of this episode. Welcome to Walk Africa Fun Facts channel and to this episode. Please remember to subscribe free today for more like content. Agriculture in Tanzania represents almost 30% of the country's GDP, with 3/4 of the country's workforce involved in this sector. Agriculture is undoubtedly the largest and most important sector of the Tanzanian economy, with the country benefiting from a diverse production base that includes livestock, staple food crops and a variety of cash crops. There are plenty of business opportunities across domestic, regional and international markets, for both traditional and new products. However, productivity is low, with modest progress over the past 2 decades. It is dominated by smallholder farmers dependent on rainfall for irrigation. Farmers and other sector stakeholders face considerable challenges in modernizing the industry to increase yields, exports and value-added processing. Slowing export revenues, land acquisition hurdles, and smallholder farmers struggling to access economically viable technology, adequate storage facilities, markets and credit have affected the sector. The government is taking measures to address these challenges by introducing subsidies to farmers and investors, as well as removing unnecessary levies that have been seen to hamper growth of the sector. The government has also sought foreign financing for its flagship project, Southern Agricultural Growth Corridor of Tanzania, SAGCOT, designed to quickly develop that region's agricultural potential. These wide-reaching efforts should see production levels of key crops return to growth in the coming years, helping boost value-added processing in the sector. The most common food crops in Tanzania are maize, wheat, rice, sweet potatoes, bananas, beans, sorghum, and sugar cane. Cash crops include coffee, cotton, cashew nuts, tobacco, tea and sisal. Multiple factors influence the farmer's choice of crops, including physical factors, such as soil quality and water availability. Economic factors, such as marketability and seed prices. Personal preferences of the household. Crop profiles, including crop yield and pest resistance, and lastly resource availability such as machinery and fertilizer. Below is a detailed analysis of the main crops of Tanzania. Number 1. Corn, maize. Corn is the most widely grown and consumed food crop in Tanzania. It is famously used to make stiff porridge, ugali, which is a local cuisine in Tanzania and most African countries. Maize production is expected to decrease by 4.7% to 6 million metric tons, MT, in 2021/2022 due to inclement weather, pest and high input prices. Tanzania Meteorological Agency forecast below average rainfall for year 2021/22. This will likely reduce yields as growers struggle to find ways to irrigate their fields. In early 2021, swarms of locusts invaded Tanzania's Kilimanjaro and Arusha regions and caused great devastation to the crop. This has left the region vulnerable to further invasions and dampened the outlook for corn production. Corn exports in 2021/22 are forecast to decrease by 20% to 80 million MT due to COVID-19 disruptions. During the past year, there have been reports of truck driver screenings, lockdowns, and curfews in neighboring countries. This is believed to have increased border delays and the cost of cross-border trade with Tanzania's largest export markets for corn. Neighboring markets include Zambia, Malawi, Rwanda, Burundi, Kenya, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Most corn imports are seed, corn oil, yellow corn for animal feed, and other corn products such as breakfast cereal. Tanzania imports the most corn from the EU, South Africa, United States, and Ukraine, which is currently at war with Russia. Number 2. Wheat. More than 90% of wheat produced in Tanzania comes from large commercial farms in the northern highlands or small and medium-sized family farms in the southern highlands. Most of the country's wheat is grown in the north, specifically in Kilimanjaro, Arusha, and Manyara. Wheat production in the year 2021/22 is expected to decrease by 22.2% to 70,000 mt, largely due to high post-harvest loss, below-average rainfall, and desert locust invasions in northern Tanzania. Tanzania is planning to increase domestic wheat production using market mechanisms. In January 2021, the Minister of Agriculture met with wheat millers, traders, and processors, requesting them to source 60% of their wheat from local producers at a premium price starting in 2021/22. Under the proposal, local buyers will be allowed to import only 40% of total wheat in demand. This strategy seeks to encourage local farmers to increase wheat production and reduce Tanzania's dependence on imports. However, there is currently no evidence to suggest that Tanzania will meet its goal of reducing imports, and it is still widely believed that most wheat will be imported. Pasta, biscuits, breakfast cereals, mandazi, chapatis, cookies, stiff porridge, ugali, cakes, and donuts drive the wheat industry in Tanzania. Wheat consumption in Tanzania is ranked fourth after maize, cassava, and rice. Wheat is mainly consumed in the form of wheat flour, which is both an intermediate and final product. The wheat milling industry is dominated by local companies with mills and silos in Dar es Salaam. Urbanization and the growth of major cities like Dar es Salaam, Mwanza, and Arusha are expected to increase demand for wheat products as 80% of wheat is consumed in urban areas. Indiana, 2021/22 wheat imports are expected to remain at 1.1 million mt due to low domestic production and increasing local consumption. Tanzania imports wheat for commercial use from Russia, Australia, Canada, EU, and Ukraine, while imports from the United States are primarily used for food aid programs. While importers prefer U.S. wheat for its quality, traders note disadvantages with high transportation costs. Tanzania imports 90% of the wheat it consumes at 1 million mt per year. Number 3. Rice. Tanzania, the biggest rice producer in the East Africa region. The rice subsector has long been identified by Tanzania as a strategic priority for agricultural development due to its potential for improving food security and income for rural households. In recent years, Tanzania has prioritized rice cultivation for local consumption and export to neighboring countries. To accomplish these goals, the Ministry of Agriculture offers technical and training support from non-government organizations. It is also building irrigation schemes for rice production and encourages efficient use of fertilizers via its 10-year National Rice Development Strategy Phase 2, NRDSE. The NRDSI purpose is to double the area under rice cultivation from 1.1 to 2.2 million hectares from 2018 to 2030, double on-farm rice productivity from 2 tons per hectare to 4 tons per hectare by 2030 and reduce post-harvest loss from 30 to 10% by 2030. Indiana, 2021/22 rice consumption and residual figure was expected to increase by 11.1% to 2.5 million mt due to changes in dietary preferences, affordability compared to wheat, accessibility, urbanization, increases in population, and availability. In Tanzania, rice is a staple food consumed in both urban and rural areas. Dar es Salaam is the principal end market for rice in the country and accounts for about 60% of consumption. Rice imports were expected to decrease by 27.7% to 130,000 mt in 2021/22 due to increased local production and import restrictions. Imports in the last quarter of 2020/21 are larger than normal because there is typically less rice in the market at this time of the year. Rice is not harvested in Tanzania from September to December, causing shortage of domestic supplies and encouraging imports. Tanzania primarily imports long-grain milled rice from Pakistan. In the same period, Tanzania imported rice primarily from Thailand, China, and the United States. Rice imports from the United States are primarily for food aid programs. Number 4. Sugar. Tanzania produces only 58% of its sugar consumption due to the high cost of production, processing inefficiencies, and inadequate marketing. The 42% demand gap is met by about $132 million in sugar imports from other countries, primarily Brazil and India. Because Tanzania's sugar tariff at 10% is lower than the EAC common external tariff of 25 to 100%, it is less protectionist than some other countries. The market is less protected from imported sugar than in other countries. Despite this fact, the government of Tanzania has consistently claimed that it wants to attract new investments into the sector.